Greetings, Chillwavers. It's me, Chillwave Kittens, the smartest person alive. And I'm fucking blazed, bro. I'm fucking stoned. I knew I was gonna have to get baked for this video, so I did. And today we're going to be doing another episode of Agree or Disagree, a series where I survey my followers on Instagram and I ask them their opinions about certain topics, and I agree or disagree with them in this video. And today's topic, Tame Impala. But before we get started, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on the video. While you are still feeling the after effects of your hypnosis, if you would like to take part in the next episode of Agree or Disagree, go ahead and follow me on Instagram and pay attention to the next time I post the survey on my story. Let's get started. They sound just like the Beatles' Love album. I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with you, but I can see where you're coming from to a certain extent. Obviously, Lonerism, you could say, sounds a lot like the Beatles' Love just based on the way Kevin sings, the tone of the instrumentation, and the way everything is mixed, but that's really it. The arrangements and song structures are very different. With that being said, the only sounds from Love I can personally draw any comparison would be I Am the Walrus and Strawberry Fields Forever. It's 2 out of like 30 fucking songs. Lonerism is also only 1 album out of 4. His last 2 albums were pop albums. Does some Tame Impala sound like the Beatles' Love? Yes. Does all Tame Impala sound like the Beatles' Love? No. Why Won't They Talk to Me is the most underrated Tame Impala song hands down. You know what? I agree. I think most Tame Impala songs are rated pretty accordingly, and of course there are the overrated ones as well. But as far as underrated Tame Impala songs, I don't think there are that many. I do think that Why Won't They Talk to Me is very underrated, joining the list of songs like Keep On Lying, Runway, Houses, City Clouds, Expectation, Jeremy Storm, Tomorrow's Dust, and Past Life. I think those are all probably the most underrated Tame Impala songs. Out of all of those songs, I would say that Why Won't They Talk to Me is the most enjoyable to listen to. Only men can get away with being this mediocre. If he was a woman, we'd never hear about her. Before I even start this, I'm just going to go ahead and say there is a lot of bullshit in the music industry, and a lot of women get fucked over and are not treated fairly. Yes, there are many cases where women are not treated the same way as men are. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and disagree. Mediocrity in the music business is not confined by gender for the most part. I think there are a handful of women who get away with being mediocre who are pretty popular right now. Phoebe Bridgers, Lorde, Courtney Barnett, that really boring new Clairo album. There's mediocrity on both sides of the fence. I think this opinion is a little bit too broad. Are you really telling me that if a woman wrote The Less I Know the Better, it wouldn't be huge? It would still be massive. Same Old Mistakes by Rihanna, which is a cover of New Person Same Old Mistakes by Tame Impala, have only a 70 million play difference on Spotify. I think that's pretty close. A lot of people know the Rihanna version and have never heard of Tame Impala. That dude got the face of a guy who wants 20 plus minutes of his ass getting ate before he would fuck someone. I agree. Patience would have been one of the best songs on the Slow Rush if it was added. I agree. I think Patience would have been great in Instant Destiny spot, or maybe even in the Glimmer spot near the end of the album. I think Patience is better than maybe half the songs on here. I was very excited when Patience came out. I loved the vibe. I love the direction. And it does fit the overall conceptual ideas of the Slow Rush. So it would have been a perfect fit. And I was a little bit disappointed that it was not on it. You're probably getting this a lot, but the Slow Rush was mid as hell. I'm gonna disagree. I don't think the Slow Rush was very mid at all, but I can see why some people do. At the end of the day, for me, the Slow Rush is a good time. It's always a fun listen. It's fun to sing along to. I feel like Kevin was having a lot of fun making it. You can kind of tell because he pulls out as many stops as he can. He polished this record as much as he could, and it seemed like every trick he has learned over the last 10 years is on full display. This album is also great to listen to when you're going through a rough time. So maybe when you're going through a crisis, maybe give it a shot. But yeah, dude, One More Year, Borderline, Posthumous Forgiveness, Breathe Deeper, Tomorrow's Dust, Lost in Yesterday, It Might Be Time, One More Hour.
Come the fuck on, bro.
It's just a billion unfunny comments on how it's just one guy. Yeah, I agree, and I'm pretty over it as well. I made the joke up. The joke originated with me. If you want to try and find someone who made the joke first, by all means, go ahead. The joke ran its course, but I think the combination of too many memes and too many people not using better judgment when leaving comments on things just completely fucking ruined it. You know, you can't just write, well, Tame Impala's only one guy on every fucking post about Tame Impala. It takes away all the attention from the different joke I'm trying to make, and it puts it all onto this joke that we've all already heard 1,000 times. People also comment that shit on stuff that has nothing to do with Tame Impala. When I did the survey for the Beach House Agree or Disagree, I had 2 responses that said something about Tame Impala only being one guy. Like, dude, Come the fuck on. I played a huge part in this joke getting ruined, but every time I did make one of these memes, I did try to make it at least funny. I can't say the same for everybody else who used the joke. I think a lot of people just shoehorned it into any meme template they could. It really shortened the shelf life of this joke. I'm sure me complaining about it is just going to make it worse, but you know, what the fuck else can I do about it? I've already said it in a video and I'm gonna say it in this one, and maybe I'll make a whole video about it. But let's pump the brakes on the Tame Impala's only one guy thing. We've all heard it enough times. It's not funny anymore. Tomorrow's Dust is the most underrated song off the Slow Rush. I am going to disagree. I think it is the second most underrated song on the Slow Rush. I think One More Hour is more underrated. Not only does it have less plays, but less people like it, and I think overall it's a better song. It's a very epic closer. I think it might be his best closer. It's better than I Don't Really Mind, it's better than Sun's Coming Up, and it's better than New Person, Same Old Mistakes. I really love how it kind of brings the whole concept of the idea to a close, but Tomorrow's Dust is a close second. Pop Tame Impala over rock Tame Impala every day. I agree with this one. I enjoy his pop music a lot more than his rock music. I do love his early stuff, but as far as enjoyability, I feel like Currents and the Slow Rush are just more of a good time, and at this stage of my life, I need to be in a good mood, so I am going to agree with you. Tame Impala has one of the biggest divides in fan bases I've ever seen versus who likes what era, and the rock fans are a little bit valid. I feel like they're the only ones who sort of complain the most. Like, I think people who like new Tame Impala also like old Tame Impala, but the people who really like old Tame Impala bitch a lot about how Tame Impala sounds now. If you go back to Lonerism, which is what a lot of them would say is his best album, there's a song on there called Feels Like We Only Go Backwards, and a lot of people love that song. If you really think about it and you listen to that song is like the first sign of the descent into pop music for him. That song is structured like a pop song. Tweak a few things and make it sound more like a pop song and people might not like it. But you know, you can't really throw on Lonerism or Innerspeaker in a party situation, or maybe if you're trying to bone out. But if you throw on Currents, you might get lucky. I think the music has gotten less complex in some areas, but it's also gotten more complex in other areas. That doesn't necessarily mean it's less interesting. I actually didn't even like Tame Impala in the Lonerism and Innerspeaker era. I thought his sound was a little bit boring. It took Currents to get me and a lot of people on the Tame Impala wagon. Innerspeaker is a better album than the Slow Rush and Currents. Okay, so this is going to sound like I'm contradicting everything I just said. I'm going to agree. Hear me out. What's best and what you enjoy more don't have to be the same thing. I really do enjoy Currents and the Slow Rush, and there are songs on those albums that mean so much to me. But the thing is there's things on Currents that I don't like. Disciples, Cause I'm a Man, Reality in Motion, and Love, Paranoia. That's 4 songs in a row that I skip every time I listen to the album. I feel like all 4 of those songs are not on par with the rest of the songs on the album. Let It Happen, The Moment, Yes I'm Changing, Eventually, The Less I Know The Better. Come on, dude. Compared to those songs, the songs I don't like on this album sound like they should have been B-sides. I feel like the B-sides from Currents would have fit better in the album than the songs that I don't like on it. The album would be so close to being perfect if Taxi's here, Powerlines, and what's that fucking song? Now I gotta now I'm gonna add you to my list of people that I'll try to forget about. Okay, that's not the melody, that's not how it goes, but that's the fucking song. Slow Rush, I feels like, has less forgivable moments than Currents does. Instant Destiny is kind of a stinker. On Track, kind of corny. Is It True? I also don't think is that good. And Glimmer, I could go without. But then, you know, you look at Innerspeaker, it is not meant to be, Desire Go, Alter Ego, Lucidity, Why Won't You Make Up Your Mind, Solitude is Bliss, Jeremy Storm, Expectation, The Bold Arrow of Time, Runway Houses, City Clouds, I Don't Really Mind. As much as it pains me to do this, I'm going to agree with you. Should Australians be allowed to make music for non-Australians to listen to? Koala bears, dingoes, kangaroos, platypus, Tasmanian devil, kookaburra, wombat, jellyfish, crocodiles, great white sharks, and giant spiders. Non-Australians know nothing about Australia. Powerlines is his best song. I disagree with that one. Are you out of your fucking mind? It's a good song, but I wouldn't even say it sniffs like the top 25. Like it should have been on Currents, but I still wouldn't put it top 25 Tame Impala songs. You're really gonna fucking sit here and tell me that it's better than Let It Happen, The Moment, Yes I'm Changing, Eventually, The Less I Know the Better, One More Year, Borderline, Posthumous Forgiveness, Breathe Deeper, Lost in Yesterday, Desire Be, Desire Go, Alter Ego, Why Won't You Make Up Your Mind, Solitude is Bliss, Jeremy's Storm, Be Above It, Ender's Twa, Apocalypse Dreams, Mind Mischief, Keep On Lying, Feels Like We Only Go Backwards, Elephant, and that's not even all of them. There's like 10 more songs that are better than that one. Come on, dude. Powerlines, the best Tame Impala song. Do people really think that that's the best Tame Impala song? I don't think that you think that's the best Tame Impala song. Lonerism is the worst album out of the 4. I'm gonna go ahead and disagree. I think Currents is actually the worst out of the 4. Although I do prefer pop Tame Impala, the songs that I love on Currents, I like more than any song on Lonerism. Like I said before, there's that stretch in Currents where I think it's not very good. But the thing about Lonerism is pretty consistent throughout. There are songs on Lonerism that a lot of people love that I think are overrated, like Apocalypse Dreams or Ender's Twa, but overall it's pretty consistent. It might not be the most fun album to listen to, but it is a great album. There's a lot of really explosive moments, some very dark ones as well. Some really interesting guitar tones. The sound that he was able to conjure for the drums is awesome, and I really enjoy the introspective loner narratives of the record. Sun's Coming Up is by far the worst song on any of his albums and ruins Lonerism from being a 10. Yeah, I disagree with that one. I think Sun's Coming Up is a great song, and the only proper way to close out the record really captures that anxious feeling of having been up all night doing too many drugs. You don't know if you're gonna die or not. Your mouth is really dry, but it tastes like cigarettes. You are too weak to reach over and grab a glass of water, even though it might save your life. And now the sun is coming up, and instead of getting any sleep and being able to restart the next day with some sort of hangover, you are now just continuing a day that you might not want to continue. The party is over, but now you're paying for it. Production is amazing, writing is bad, decent ideas, nothing groundbreaking. I also disagree with this. I feel like the writing is fine. He obviously knows how to write a fucking song. I'd say it's on par and similar to most artists I'd consider good writers. Some of his songs badly written? Yeah, of fucking course they are. You know, songs like Instant Destiny or Reality in Motion are very phoned in. But I mean, the list of songs that are written well is a lot fucking longer than the list of songs that are written badly. I think to say overall the writing is bad is a bit of an exaggeration. And to say nothing groundbreaking is kind of an odd complaint in the first place. And to say nothing groundbreaking to me seems a little bit contradictory of the comment you made in the first place. You know, the production is amazing and you acknowledge that. When you really think about it, the production is really what changed everything for him. The way he was able to merge these sounds together and make them what they are. These things that he was able to do that other people can't figure out. How many fucking groundbreaking ideas do you need to be considered groundbreaking? 4, 5, 10, 20, 30? I don't know, dude, but I think breaking ground just one time is enough to be considered groundbreaking. Currents changed the way a lot of people produce their music and how they wanted it to sound. It also sent shockwaves through other music communities that he's not even a part of. I mean, Travis Scott wanted to work with him. A$AP Rocky wanted to work with him. Rihanna heard New Person, Same Old Mistakes and wanted to take the exact instrumental and sing over it on her album. I guess releasing something so polished and sonically pleasing to the ears that artists on a completely different side of the spectrum are inspired by it and want to use it and want to collaborate, I would call that groundbreaking. Too many people still trying to emulate this tired sound, TBH. Yes, I agree. I think if only people who were good at it and maybe tried to put more of their own spin on it did it, then the sound wouldn't be so tired at this point. But it is because, you know, a lot of people really want to be associated with that sound. You know, like you sound like Tame Impala. I feel like Currents made a really big splash and people sort of wanted to hop on that as fast as they could, but it also inspired a lot of people to water it down. What's that fucking band? What is that band's name? Glass Animals. They are the worst culprits of all. Ugh. I get a lot of messages about people telling me to listen to their music. A decent chunk. Enough to the point where it made me laugh every time I saw it. Almost the exact same message.
Hey bro, check out my music. It's right up your alley. I sound just like Tame Impala.
Eventually goes hard. I agree. Eventually does go hard. I really love the intro. I think it punches you in the face pretty quickly. The guitars and the drums are very loud. It sort of sounds like a song from Lonerism structured as a pop song. The instrumental is one of my favorites on the album. It's one of the most fun songs to sing. He takes like a breath before he goes on those vocal runs. And for some reason, leaving that in there, I felt like made the song so much better. For these vocals to sound sound as desperate as they are, the tiniest detail of those breaths being there before it just makes the lyrics punch you in the heart a little bit harder. Lonerism is overrated. I really do love Lonerism, but I do think it's overrated. I think a lot of people are in denial about the imperfections that are on it. I also can only take this album in doses. I only ever want to listen to this album when I'm in like a really fucked up, depressed mood, but I also want to continue being in a fucked up, depressed mood.
That doesn't sound very healthy.
For some reason, I don't really like the intro to Apocalypse Dreams. It sort of makes me like the song less because, I don't know, man, that intro is just very basic and not very fun to listen to. She Just Won't Believe Me also doesn't need to be there. You know, the mix on the album isn't great. I think it would sound a lot better maybe with a 10-year remaster. Just don't fuck with the drums. You can fuck with the drums. It's a great album and I love it a lot. When I first heard it in 2012, I kind of hated it. I was not in a place to listen to music like that. I thought it was a little bit too derivative of, you know, like 60s and 70s, like psych rock. I'm able to separate myself from those comparisons now because it doesn't sound as much like it as I used to think it did. Loved them when I used to smoke Camel Lights. Then I grew up. Dude, I don't care. Weird flex, bro. What do you vape now? He hasn't released a single bad song. Disagree. I don't know if there are many artists that don't have a bad song, but he definitely does. Instant Destiny is very annoying. Disciples, what even is that song? Reality in Motion is very corny and kind of cringy and badly written. Cause I'm a Man is possibly his worst song. B-side he just put out is Growing on Me, but it's still not great. He definitely has some bad songs. One of the best acts around, but it is also at a level where it's easy to take shots at their mainstream appeal. Yeah, I agree to both statements that you made. I think he's one of the best around, but I think it is also easy to take shots at him because of how mainstream he's become. You know, because the more mainstream he becomes and the more money that gets thrown at him, he's gonna do some things that people don't agree with. You know, the more popular he gets and the more people that like him, I feel more inclined to make fun of him. The more revered someone becomes, you can't let the circle jerk become too strong or else the world could implode. I mean, look at what's going on with Radiohead. The circle jerk for that is at an all-time high. That's never going to be stopped. You got to restore order to the universe. You got to make fun of shit that's really good and really popular, just as importantly as it is to make fun of shit that's really popular that's also bad. Tame Impala is the best headliner you can see for a festival. Desert Days 2018, lightning storm emoji. So this is kind of a broad response, but I'm gonna go ahead and agree with it because I saw Tame Impala headline a festival for about 15 minutes, the one that you're referring to, Desert Days 2018. And that 15 minutes was like the tightest thing I've ever fucking seen. I wish I got to see the whole show. I think the best sell for me to go to a show would be Tame Impala because he puts a lot of effort into his live show and is very meticulous, and those lasers are very sick. The lighting is awesome. The visuals fucking rule. That light thing he has that comes down is fucking insane. Since you were referencing a festival I was at, we're gonna end this video on a story about what happened at that festival and why I only saw Tame Impala for 15 minutes. I went to Desert Days in 2018 in Southern California, and I was very excited to see Tame Impala. I had only been listening to Tame Impala for like, I don't know, 2 years, and it was around the time that I had started doing acid. Yeah, I know, I'm a fucking walking cliche. Go fuck yourself. I hadn't done acid that many times, but I was also very weary about doing it in public. But I was like, if I was ever to do it in public, I would do it at a Tame Impala show. The opportunity came, and I got very nervous because I was like, you know, I'm driving out of state for this. I'm not staying there. I have to drive home, but I guess we'll see what happens. I'm on my way to the festival, and my friend texts me, and she says that she has some that she'll just give to me. I don't even have to buy it. And I thought about it for like an hour, and I turned it down. I was very upset about having to turn it down because I got to the festival and everybody was on drugs, and there were things set up for you to be on drugs and have a good time and trip the fuck out. It was a fucking cool ass festival on a beach. It was also overcast. You know, there was a thought that it might rain at some point. But yeah, so I turned down the acid, and I watch Hines, I watch Pond, and then Warpaint starts. Tame Impala is going to play after Warpaint, and Warpaint was killing it. Everybody around me is vibing. I'm in the front, and Warpaint's like about to end. Like they say, we got a couple songs left. I'm not exaggerating. Almost every single person that was around me reaches into their pocket or their bag and takes something, whether it's ecstasy, acid, or mushrooms. They were taking something, so it would kick in around the time that Tame Impala started. Warpaint ends, and it's like getting windy. I'm pretty sure we felt a couple raindrops before Tame Impala even started. 45 minutes goes by, Tame Impala starts, felt a few raindrops, it's getting windier. They open with Nangs, and then they play Let It Happen, and then they play Sundown Syndrome. During this time, it's just getting more intense. So like, you know, imagine you're on acid on a beach at night watching Tame Impala and the wind is blowing through you. It probably sounds fucking sick. This dude walks out on stage and whispers into Kevin's ear, and immediately Kevin just like gets to the microphone and he goes, "We gotta go."
Very sorry. We gotta go.
The whole band leaves the stage, and I don't even think 30 seconds passed before this storm just picked up exponentially and started tearing through this festival like nobody's business. The merch tents were getting flipped upside down. The food vendors were getting blown over. Shit was going everywhere, and it was storming, it was raining, and it was fucked up. There's like thousands of people all on drugs during a fucking dangerous thunderstorm. People are falling on the ground, getting hurt, getting stuck in mud puddles. I ran by people who were just like crying. Imagine you're on acid watching Tame Impala and then it just gets taken away from you, and then the place that you're at starts getting fucking torn apart. The people who were at the festival who were going to stay there, who took drugs because they were going to stay there, had to be evacuated. They had to evacuate the camping area. Can you believe that? This storm was so bad and this festival was so unprepared for a storm, they had to evacuate the people who paid to stay there. But I, on the other hand, was able to get out safely and not be traumatized from this situation. Because, you know, if something bad happens to you on acid, you think about it forever. I'm sure Tame Impala was ruined for some of those people for quite a while. I know I was upset about it until I got to see Tame Impala the next year. Yeah, I was really glad I turned down drugs that day and did the adult thing and decided to be safe. That shit was wild, and I'm glad that I have a memory of it and I can tell you that. All right, guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to participate in the next episode of, what's the fucking name of this again? Agree or Disagree, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Motherfucker. All right, bye.